Part 86. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 851. Where there are people, there must be classes, and where there are classes, there must be people who live a bad life. And this kind of people are the best trading partners. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. After Lin Yi's observation, he found that the lowest level of those who survived in this void city had reached the level of Earth immortals. All life forms at this level have gotten rid of the simple flesh and blood restrictions and can survive by extracting spiritual energy. However, in the void city, there are all kinds of miscellaneous staff in quite a few shops. These people have almost no strong breath, and their breath is empty. In Lin Yi's eyes, it can be clearly seen that their strength is enhanced by various external forces. And they themselves do not have the ability to cross the world. There is only one reason why they can appear here, that they were brought here by a cross-border strongman. There is only one reason why they were brought here. It can be seen from their work that the most practical handymen serve the strong men behind them. A note appeared gently in Lin Yi's hand. He waved his hand gently, and the note merged into the air under an invisible force. The evolution of the magic cube in the Wanchaiwu also improved the strange objects inside, bringing various changes. Among them, the note in the wish shrine has the ability to find prey by itself. But at this moment, an unexpected thing disrupted Lin Yi's plan. Less than 3 minutes after the note flew out, a piece of light suddenly appeared not far from the note. This light came from all the surrounding buildings. This light just covered the note paper. In just a moment, the strange power transformed by the note evaporated in an instant. The next moment, the entire void city seemed to have changed. Countless light runes appeared on the surrounding buildings. A light curtain also appeared in the sky at the same time. Light spots like the galaxy of the universe flickered in it. In just a moment, the entire void city was closed. A loud voice sounded, "There is a strange force invading, enter the third level alert state." At the same time, where the note was destroyed, dozens of figures covered by light appeared there. Lin Yi had already gone far away silently at this time, with the light of the true destiny in his eyes, looking at the bright figures that suddenly appeared. Pure energy creatures, so pure, so domineering. The existence composed of soul and light energy is really terrible, each of them has the combat power of the peak level of the Earth immortal. And this bright creature seems to have countless ancient divine texts, permeated with infinite divine power, involving space, energy, matter, soul, and space power. It's different from all the power systems I have seen. Under the true destiny, Lin Yi quickly noticed the different reactions of these bright creatures. At this time, these bright creatures are using various mysterious methods to scan this area. A trace of dark strange power was extracted from the air. That was the strange power that formed the note. Lin Yi frowned slightly. It seems that in this void city, the strange power cannot leave my hand. Otherwise, it will be discovered by the power in the void city. Lin Yi's eyes can see clearly that all the buildings are filled with countless runes. These runes are connected to each other, forming a formation that closes the entire void city. This formation involves time, space, matter, energy, and even the soul level. Not to mention him, even the eternal existence that is immune to the 5 innate principles will be suppressed here. Maybe he can survive, but he will be sealed by the powerful formation. The power of this void city is definitely not as simple as it sounds. However, when he used the arbitrary door and held the note in his hand, this power was not triggered. It was obviously blocked by himself, but when the note left his hand, it would quickly trigger the reaction of the formation. And this is just the most superficial thing in the void city. Under the earth, Lin Yi could see a ball of light. It was his true destiny solution. For the time being, he could only see the surface light. If he wanted to see deeper, he needed to increase the supply of power, but the consumption was very large. Thinking of this, a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes, We need to be more careful. We need to find a way to avoid the world's lock on the strange power and find the flaws of this formation. Only then can the Wanchaiwa come. And the coordinates must be located here. We need to think carefully. The effect of the mother and child bells must leave the mother bell here, and there must be a trustworthy person. Except for the person who signed the contract, no one is trustworthy. This void city does not allow any strange items to exist. I can't leave the mother bell here at all. It seems that I have to think of other ways. Thinking of this, Lin Yi no longer stayed in the void city. The boundless true destiny wrapped him and flew into the air. It rushed directly into the sky like a missile. The whole process happened silently and did not attract anyone's attention. The state of boundless destiny is not bound by anything, nor can it be detected by any force. Only the naked eye can directly observe it. However, Lin Yi's speed is fast enough. Before many people noticed what was going on, he had disappeared. Easily passed through the mysterious formation on the void city and arrived in the void outside the void city. He looked around, and the brilliance of the true destiny flashed in his eyes. He was looking for a suitable place for the Wanchaiwa to descend. Soon she saw a target, a huge meteorite belt, floating in the distance of the void. It was about thousands of kilometers away from the void city. His figure flashed, and the state of boundless destiny accelerated infinitely. In just a few minutes, he had crossed thousands of kilometers and arrived at this meteorite belt. His eyes carefully swept across this area and quickly noticed many things hidden in this area. For example, some mysterious bases were hidden in the meteorites. Using powerful space capabilities, a meteorite that seemed less than the size of a palm had a huge space of tens of kilometers. There are quite a few such bases in this area. Lin Yi saw at least 30 of them. There are densely packed buildings of various types, and the styles of these buildings are different, obviously from different worlds. Lin Yi's eyes immediately showed a hint of joy. This is a good place. The base these people build here is not far from the Void City, and the alert feels that the Void City is so powerful. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 852. It seems that for some reason, I can't enter the Void City. So I built a base outside. This is a place that can be used. If the Wanchaiwa is here, it should be easy to settle down. A world coin appeared in Lin Yi's hand, and he looked carefully at this energy world coin. This is composed of a large amount of pure spiritual energy and a part of the principle of energy. Through the true destiny, Lin Yi has completely seen through its basic structure. He can make this thing through the true destiny route. Thinking of this, the true destiny route was activated instantly, and countless spiritual energy gathered from the void and turned into a state like matter in his hand. The spiritual energy absorbed by Lin Yi is of the highest purity, and all impurities are automatically eliminated by the true destiny route. About 10 minutes later, enough spiritual energy for an energy world coin appeared in his hand. Lin Yi's spiritual power slowly flowed out and began to mobilize spiritual energy in this coin. Building energy principle information, as well as a special rune that constitutes the world coin. Another 5 minutes later, a brand new energy world coin appeared in his hand. After wandering around the Void City for a long time, Lin Yi had roughly figured out the value of this coin. One energy world coin can buy about one first-level elixir in the Void City. The elixirs in the Void City are divided into 5 levels. Level 1 is the lowest and level 5 is the highest. Among them, a first-level elixir can satisfy the accumulation of a void life form at the level of Earth Immortal Dao for 1 day of cultivation. This is what Lin Yi observed through the True Fate Daoji, which is the effect of the lowest level of elixir. You can also buy a first-level weapon, which is a mainland product. Any store on the street can sell it, and the basic target group is the group with the weakest breath. The reason why Lin Yi forged the world coin is because he observed that those bases in the meteorite had to pay to enter them. The price is exactly 1 energy world coin. I can use the true life source to forge coins, but forging energy world coins is relatively inefficient. Forging time coins is the most efficient, but time coins are not easy. The time information inside involves the pure principle of time. Only time can retain time. Without mastering the power of time, it is impossible to forge this kind of coin. Of the 5 kinds of coins, only 2 can be perfectly forged, but the time spent is not proportional. It seems that I can only exchange more world coins through trading. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's heart flashed a trace of helplessness. The meaning of currency is different in different worlds, and gold is worthless here. With an energy world coin in his hand, he flashed to the largest mysterious base in the meteorite base. A minute later, he stopped in front of a huge meteorite with a diameter of 10 meters. He stretched out his right hand, and a stream of energy flowed out of his hand. These energies formed a wonderful structure. This wonderful structure, under his control, slowly floated towards the meteorite. The moment the wonderful energy structure came into contact with the meteorite, it slowly changed. This structure expanded rapidly and turned into a light-like door, appearing on the meteorite. The door slowly opened, and a noisy world appeared inside. This was the key to open the door that Lin Yi had just observed when he found someone entering here. Apparently, there are basic requirements for entering and exiting here. The door opened, Lin Yi took a step out, and walked directly into it. He sat on a stable ground, with a huge door in front of him. The door was purple gold, and countless runes were shining on it. There were some soldiers wearing purple gold armor on both sides of the door. Their eyes were vigilantly watching Lin Yi who entered here. Lin Yi followed what he had just observed and came directly to the side of the door. There was a small table here, and a middle-aged man in a brocade robe sat behind it. He saw Lin Yi coming over, and a spiritual wave flashed. Enter the city, 1 energy world coin. You are here for the first time. Lin Yi nodded, yes, it's my first time here. This is the ID card, take it. Inject a trace of your power and it will form a mark. In many places in the city, you need an ID card to register before you can enter. Lin Yi nodded, put an energy world coin on his desk, and took the ID card. A wisp of pure spirit emanated from his body and injected into the card. Then changes began to appear on the card, and Lin Yi's face appeared on the card. This card has no secrets under Lin Yi's true destiny. He found that this card can identify all types of energy and then mark the personal soul characteristics in the energy. This is obviously a product of a supernatural civilization. Through the Void City, Lin Yi has discovered that countless civilizations have gathered there. Countless achievements of civilization are also popular in it. It makes the Void City like a dream world, very magical. The city in the meteorite zone before us, although much smaller, also houses countless creations of civilization. Lin Yi slowly stepped into the purple gold gate, and a strange force swept across his body. He could feel that this force was looking for traces of weirdness. Are you targeting weirdness again? It seems that weirdness is really hated by everyone in this world. If I want the Wanchaiwu to come to this world, I must be able to cover up and block all possible reconnaissance. With a slight solemnity in his eyes, Lin Yi stood on a street. The architectural planning here is not as perfect as that of the Void City, with all kinds of strange and bizarre buildings. There are many gaps and alleys between buildings. Some buildings look like dome-shaped peaked hats, like temples. Some buildings are antique, just like Linyuan. Other buildings are full of modern metal textures. Lin Yi saw many opportunities here and smelled the taste of ambition. A note appeared in his hand, and the note disappeared in his hand with a light release. It turned into an invisible strange force, floating towards a place full of ambition. There is no strict defense like the Void City here, and no strange notes have been detected. Lemke, he was born in an ocean world. He is a fishman, born with the power of the sea, and is also a good warrior in their race. He was brought here by a great man in his tribe, this wanderer city. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 853. He saw countless huge and glorious civilizations in the void world. Powerful beings can be found everywhere. He is like a weak ant here, and may be trampled to death at any time. He wants to become stronger, but unfortunately, their racial talents are limited and they are bound by blood. He can only reach the current level in his life, and he is very unwilling. But he has no choice but to work here until he pays off his debts, serving the nobles of the clan who brought him here. But his heart is full of ambition. He wants to be a superior person and want to master more powerful power. He wants to conquer the void, want to stand out, and want his reputation to spread throughout the void. But all this is impossible for him. His current job is a waiter in a restaurant. This restaurant specializes in races born in the ocean. There are thousands of races in this world, and naturally there are different restaurants. The food sold in these restaurants is rich in spiritual energy, all of which can assist in cultivation. Every day, he watched these strong men from different backgrounds enjoying countless fine wines and delicacies, and his heart was filled with incomparable envy and jealousy. But unfortunately, with his status, he could only afford one meal with a month's salary. Usually, he could only live by absorbing spiritual energy from the void. In this world, delicacies belong only to the rich and the strong. There were no guests today, and he was sitting in the lobby bored, staring at the various people passing by on the street, fantasizing that one day he would become one of them. There were countless money, endless delicacies, and endless beauties. Thinking about it, he even drooled and immersed himself in his fantasy. Suddenly, a note suddenly appeared in front of him. Looking at the note, Lemke's pupils shrank. There was a trace of fear in his fish face and fish eyes. It felt the strange power condensed in the note, which was a terrifying thing known to the entire void. That was the product of the destruction of everything that the Void Fate Committee was fighting against. Even though he was not very knowledgeable, he knew that this was an extremely dangerous thing. A piece of text appeared on the note. I can fulfill your wish. But you have to pay a price. A trace of surprise flashed across Lemke's face, because he didn't recognize the words on it at all, but the meaning of these words emerged in his mind. Contract type, strange item. In an instant, the possible origin of the note flashed through his mind. A trace of joy appeared in his eyes. Contract type strange items are very useful. A power with strong order. Once obtained, if used properly, you can get huge benefits. And it doesn't need to be eroded by strange power. This is the only strange item that can produce benefits. But it must be used properly. Once used incorrectly, it will cause very serious consequences. With his heart pounding, Lemke looked around quietly. No one noticed him, and no one saw the note. In an instant, countless expectations rose in his heart. Maybe, it's time to change my life. Lemke's heart was full of anticipation and excitement. He stretched out his hand and placed it on the note. A trace of blue power flowed into the note and turned into some words. I hope to get power, powerful power, power that can be invincible in this world. You have to pay as much as you want. You want to get invincible power, but you don't have the price that meets this wish. Looking at the content on the note, Lemke was slightly disappointed, although he also knew that his wish was unlikely to be possible. What if I want to become stronger? The power that can make me a peak strong man. Okay, you belong to the ocean intelligent race. There are two choices below the content appeared on the note. Let your body become dark and abyssal, and you will step into a higher level of power in a short time. Give you a new method of cultivation, which can allow you to practice to the peak. The price of the two choices is to become my spokesperson here. Seeing the content flashing on the note, Lemke's face froze slightly. He keenly perceived the danger in this price. After thinking for a while, he slowly wrote, "Are you a strange being?" "No, I am a being that possesses strange powers, but I am not a strange being. I need someone to speak for me." Looking at the content on the note, Lemke slowly breathed a sigh of relief. As long as it was not a strange being, he could be the spokesperson. But he had to ask a lot of things clearly. What does the spokesperson need to do? You only have a few things to do. First, buy a piece of land here. The area is equal to the size of the restaurant you are in, and the location of the land can be more remote. Second, you will get an item, and you have to bury the item under the purchased land. Third, after completing these things, the memory related to this content will automatically disappear, and the certificate for purchasing the land must also be buried underground in that piece of land, and then leave the Wanderer City forever. Are you willing to accept it? Looking at the content on the note, Lemke was slightly excited. This is too simple, and there is no risk. You can agree, but what about the money? Thinking of this, he immediately wrote on the note. It is very expensive to buy land here. It will take at least tens of thousands of time coins to do it. The words appeared on the note, the money problem will be solved by me. Although Lemke didn't know what kind of existence was behind the note. But as long as he could get power, he could do all these things. Okay, I am willing to be your spokesperson. I choose Article 2. Okay, the contract is established. In an instant, the note ignited without wind, and a strange force entangled him. At this time, a piece of information appeared in his mind out of thin air. The See Infinite Divine Transformation Sutra. This is what Lin Yi got from Indra. This is a power system that appeared in the ocean world. This method of cultivation is very magical. It can be suitable for any ocean race. By visualizing the origin of the sea, the blood of the whole body is gathered. The blood evolves in the visualized ocean source, and finally flows back into the body to evolve the whole body. This purification is called a divine transformation, and there are 9 divine transformations in total. With each transformation, the power of the body will double, and eventually it can increase 9 times, endlessly. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 854. The higher the starting point of the innate, the stronger the result of cultivation will be, which is suitable for any marine race that is bound by blood. And the most important thing is to start with the easy and then the difficult. The first 3 levels can be easily practiced with just a little time. With Lemke's current power level, he only needs to complete the first 2 changes to smoothly step into the power level of the heavenly immortal Deo. He will not be a weakling in this crescent meteor base, and can be comparable to the nobles of the clan who brought him here. After feeling the power of this scripture, Lemke was trembling all over. This is an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Once completed, he can break free from the shackles and truly travel in this void. Forcibly suppressing the excitement in his heart, Lemke continued today's work without a sound. At this time, Lin Yi had already left here. He was looking for a store that sold various treasures. He needed to sell the things in his hands in exchange for time coins used in the void to meet the needs of purchasing real estate. Soon he found a suitable target, an antique shop that looked like a shop of Xiandao civilization. He came to the door of the shop and looked up. The name of the shop was Babayazai. He walked in a few steps and was greeted by a steward. He was wearing an exquisite black robe, looking very handsome and giving people a good feeling. He smiled at Lin Yi and said, "Sir, please come in." Lin Yi, led by the steward in black, entered a room in Babayazai. "Hello, sir. I am the person in charge of the new moon base of Babayazai. You can call me shopkeeper Tong. What do you want to buy?" There are all kinds of materials, creations, and inheritances of the immortal civilization in my Babayazai. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, I don't want to buy things, but I want to sell things. Shopkeeper Tong smiled and said, Babayazai not only sells things, but also buys things. What do you want to sell? I want to sell a lot of things, let's take a look at them one by one. After saying that, Lin Yi took out a round crystal from his arms. This is a talent gem, and the main direction involved is drawing, but not just drawing. Everything that needs to be drawn is within the ability of this talent. For example, drawing talismans, drawing formations, etc. Shopkeeper Tong looked at the thing Lin Yi took out, and a hint of doubt appeared in his eyes. Sir, what is this thing? This is the talent bead. It can make an ordinary person have genius-level talent. In the immortal civilization, there are talisman making, refining, array formation, alchemy and other immortal arts. This talent can make a person who has no talent for talisman making gain powerful innate ability. You should know the difference between a talisman making genius and an ordinary talisman maker. Lin Yi has obtained many cultivation methods of other systems from Indra. There are also cultivation methods from other worlds, and there are some auxiliary cultivation skills that are not available in the Red Lotus realm. Among them, he discovered another use of talent. Talent is not only used in music, painting, calligraphy, and so on of mortals. Especially after the integration, the talent is suitable for many categories in the cultivation system. For example, talisman making, refining, alchemy, planting spiritual herbs, etc., all involve the application of talent. This is a product destined to sell well. For example, an ordinary alchemist needs to be proficient in the ability to control flames and the ability to understand things. This is certainly the result of learning, but it is also more related to talent. If a person has this talent, then it will be very simple and easy for him to learn this knowledge, and he can even learn 10 by 1. This is the difference between a genius and a mortal. This is also why in the immortal cultivation system, some people can only stay outside the threshold of alchemy for their entire lives, while some people can become alchemy masters in a short time. All of this is related to talent, and now Lin Yi is selling this kind of talent, which has never appeared before. When shopkeeper Tong heard Lin Yi's words, his pupils shrank slightly, and a trace of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Are you kidding, sir? I have never heard that talent can be turned into a real item. Of course I won't lie to you. I can give you an ordinary talent for you to test. As he said this, he took out a round bead that was shining with green light from his arms. This is a talent related to music. You can find someone who doesn't understand music at all and has no talent in this area. Perform some music tests on him. Wait until the test results come out. Let him take this talent bead. Then, perform another music test on him and you will find a clear difference. Then you will know whether this talent bead is real or fake. In the immortal cultivation system, there is also a way to enter the Tao through music. When shopkeeper Tong heard Lin Yi's confident words, his heart was pounding. He had realized how big a storm this talent bead would cause. The way to immortal cultivation is not simple, and the land, law, wealth, and companions are all indispensable. Among them, wealth is the most important, which refers not only to wealth, but also to talent. With talent, there are naturally ways to turn it into wealth. Without talent, if you want to make money, you can only work hard. Among them, making talismans, refining pills, making tools, spiritual plants, etc., are all industries that require certain talents. As long as you master one of these industries, you can support your own cultivation path. Therefore, almost every immortal cultivator will try to master one or two ways to make money so that they can go further on the road of immortality. Most people have no talent. They can only rely on continuous experience to accumulate and eventually master these money-making industries. But the consumption is also huge. The consumption of time and money will even delay their road to immortality. But if they can buy talents in this area, then their consumption will inevitably be greatly reduced. What is saved is not only money, but the most important thing is life. Shopkeeper Tong took a deep breath, and a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. Please wait for me for a moment, sir. I will find someone to do the test. Don't bother. Take this gem. I will wait here for you to come back after the test. Shopkeeper Tong saw Lin Yi handing him this gem of musical talent so casually. Immediately realized that this gem of musical talent meant nothing to Lin Yi. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 855. Shopkeeper Tong immediately understood that Lin Yi had more talents. Guest, please rest assured that I, Babaozai, am an innocent child. If the value of this orb is indeed what you said, then after the final price is determined, I will definitely compensate you according to the price. Lin Yi waved his hand. I said I would give it to you, so I gave it to you. Complete the test as soon as possible. I am still in a hurry. Shopkeeper Tong nodded. I'll make arrangements immediately. Guests, please wait a moment. After saying that, Shopkeeper Tong left the living room and quickly made arrangements. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. About an hour later, Shopkeeper Tong returned to the living room where Lin Yi was in disbelief. This guest, your talent orb has been tested and it is indeed true. It really puts talent in the hands of people who don't have it. I wonder how many levels this talent can be divided into, Shopkeeper Tong asked nervously. In the inspection just now, we found that the musical talent orb can only be regarded as a lucky charm. Mortals can make music and have a certain sensitivity to music, but it is not enough to apply it to the immortal system. Lin Yi smiled faintly. That's just the most common talent. This is the kind of talent that can truly be utilized by immortal cultivators. With that said, another brighter talent orb appeared in Lin Yi's hand. This one can be applied to the immortal system. This talent can allow an ordinary person to hear all sounds, including the sounds of heaven, earth, nature, the sea, and the universe. All sounds will appear in the ears of the user of this talent. Even through sound, you can construct the universe in your mind. As long as the user is powerful enough, he can even see the essence of the universe. Shopkeeper Tong trembled slightly when he heard Lin Yi's words. This kind of talent is simply incredible. He immediately thought of the aptitude test in cultivating immortals. His eyes lit up. This guest, in our immortal way, there are 5 types of qualifications. It seems that it can be applied to the judgment of this talent. If you want to step into the cultivation of immortality and various arts, you will usually have to take a qualification test. There are generally different levels of this kind of testing. Respect is the appearance of the middleman. Through hard work and learning knowledge, you can achieve something in a certain skill. For example, many people who are trapped in the levels of talisman making apprentice, alchemy boy, spiritual planting apprentice, and flute blowing boy belong to this level. Beyond that is genius level. This kind of person knows almost everything about cultivating immortals. He can even draw inferences from one instance and become self-taught. He can be called a genius. Beyond genius is the genius. This kind of character is even more incredible. They can easily master the skills corresponding to their talents, and then directly reach the master level without any bottlenecks. He is the favorite figure of every sect who has paved his own path to immortality. Beyond the genius is a peerless talent. This kind of person is more than just a master of a skill. It's about being able to easily master all the relevant content in a craft, and even innovate and create new things. Almost a master level figure in preparation. In the future, he will almost always be a Taishan Baidu level existence. It may be possible to achieve a record that no one can surpass for thousands of years. And above this, there is the legendary Supreme Genius. I have never seen such people. It is just said that these people have pioneered the various arts of immortality. It is said that these people have the terrifying ability to open up new paths and even change an era. If your talent orb is really as powerful as you say, then a talent orb of this level can undoubtedly create the ability of a supreme genius. Even if there is no supreme genius, there are still peerless talents. So the price is probably going to be high. But I can't make the decision on my own for an item of this price. I will ask the appraisal masters from Babayazai and let them come up with a reasonable price. I don't know how long guests can wait. Lin Yi looked at shopkeeper Tong in front of him and smiled. I can wait for a while, at least 4 or 5 minutes will be no problem. Lin Yi has been in the Void City for several hours. I also roughly figured out the time calculation in Void City. They determine time based on a unique frequency in the void. This frequency appears to be a wave carried by the void itself. The duration of a wave is approximately 3 seconds. A blink, as they call those 3 seconds. 60 instants are 1 10-day, and 1 10-day is 180 seconds equal to 3 minutes. 20 10 days is a quarter, which is approximately equal to 1 hour. A void day is 36 moments, which is 5 days. Upon hearing Lin Yi's words, shopkeeper Tong immediately had a smile on his face. That would be great if that's the case. I'll make arrangements right away. Within a moment, the appraisal masters from Babayazai in the Void City will arrive. Guest, please wait. Lin Yi nodded casually. Shopkeeper Tong left the living room and went down to make arrangements. Lin Yi waited quietly in the VIP room. Soon shopkeeper Tong walked in pushing a dining cart. Let him push the dining cart to Lin Yi's side, and said with a smile. My guest, I don't know your name yet. My last name is Lin. Mr. Lin, this is Feng Xiu Lian Tian. A 1,000-year-old tea tree called Feng Xiu-san can only produce 6 tails in 1,000 years. I specially brewed a pot, please taste it. As he said, he gently picked up the tray from the dining cart and placed it in front of Lin Yi. The tray is made of green jade, and the teapot on it is an ice blue jade structure. You should be able to see that the natural clouds on this ice blue jade teapot seem to be floating slowly. Noticing Lin Yi's gaze, Tong, the shopkeeper, said with a hint of pride on his face. This is made of cloud jade that has been around for billions of years. This cloud jade was collected from a world of snow and clouds. There is no land or ocean in that world, only endless sky and white clouds. This cloud jade is produced in the clouds and mist, and its quality is very low. It takes billions of years to produce one piece, and it is priceless. It is a perfect match for making snowy days. Tong, the shopkeeper, poured a cup of tea for Lin Yi. The tea was very clear, and there seemed to be a mysterious glow flickering in it. This water is not ordinary water, it is pure water of luck, a wonderful thing. Luck is a wonderful power generated in the process of the world's operation. There are senior monks who have created a method of cultivating luck, among which there is this method of collecting luck and condensing qi into water. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 856. This water of luck soaked in the wind and snow is the best among spiritual teas. After one sip, you can calm down and concentrate, increase your understanding of the world and your connection with the void, and even see some of the essence of the world. When Lin Yi heard this, he glanced at shopkeeper Tong in surprise. Is he so powerful? Then this thing should be valuable, right? This pot alone is worth at least 100 time world coins. Lin Yi nodded slightly when he heard this. The price is indeed quite high. The shopkeeper is very thoughtful. Shopkeeper Tong showed a hint of joy. Ha ha ha, as long as Mr. Lin likes it. If we succeed in this transaction, I hope Mr. Lin can do more business with me in the future. We can't guarantee the rest of Babayazai, but there is no problem with children being innocent. Hearing this, Lin Yi's heart moved slightly. By the way, I want to ask a question. Mr. Lin, please tell me what you want to ask. Do you have any other practice systems here? You mean cultivation inheritance? This kind of thing is actually everywhere. There are countless worlds in the void, and there are countless ways to practice. But most cultivation methods have racial restrictions. Because these cultivation methods were originally developed based on the bodies of these races. So more than 90% of the inheritance is useless, and other races cannot learn it at all. Lin Yi nodded when he heard this. There are only various external substances developed by these cultivation systems, such as medicines and potions. Or only powerful words, knowledge and understanding of the world can be used by other civilizations. Mr. Lin wants to capture the essence of hundreds of schools of thought and refine it for the world, right? Shopkeeper Tong seemed to guess what Lin Yi wanted to do right away. Lin Yi nodded, not hiding anything. Yes, I do have this plan. After all, there is no need to understand the results that predecessors have achieved by yourself. Mr. Lin's idea has actually been thought about by many people. Especially in our system of cultivating immortals, what we like most is to achieve the purpose of understanding the world through the accumulation of various knowledge. Many years ago, our Babayozai collected a large number of power systems from different worlds. This kind of thing is not valuable. If this business is done, I will give a set to Mr. Lin. There are at least 120,000 different power systems in it. Some systems can even be cultivated to the outside world level. But in the void, the most worthless thing is the cultivation method. Of course, that's only for rich people. It's even harder for an ordinary slave to get it than to reach heaven. As if he thought of something, shopkeeper Tong's eyes dimmed slightly. Lin Yi looked at him thoughtfully, and the shopkeeper Tong in front of him seemed to have a past. The two chatted constantly. Most of the time, Lin Yi was asking questions and shopkeeper Tong was answering. Shopkeeper Tong seemed to have realized that Lin Yi should be an extraterrestrial being who had just descended into the void. Lin Yi suddenly asked, "Why does your Babayazai want to do business in this meteorite base? Don't you still have a shop in the Void City?" Shopkeeper Tong smiled when he heard this and said, "Because the taxes in Void City are very high. Although our Babayazai has been in the void for many years, we are only one of countless forces, and our ranking is only in the middle. The city of the void is one of the largest cities in the void, and it is basically filled with some of the most powerful forces in the void. The competition is very fierce once you get in, and the taxes are also very high. So a considerable number of middle-level and lower-level forces will establish void bases near these cities. To a certain extent, we can use the power of Void City to establish a stable gathering point. After all, the void is not such a simple place. Everywhere is full of dangers. In addition to being strange, other intelligent creatures in the void may also be enemies." Lin Yi understood clearly when he heard this. Where there is life, there must be struggle. It is the same anywhere in the world. From shopkeeper Tong, Lin Yi learned a lot about void. The Void Destiny Committee is not the only alliance in the void that fights against weirdness. It's just against a small area of weirdness. The so-called front lines are actually some voids and voids that connect to strange places. A large number of weird things will rush out of it and attack the nearby world, eventually turning the void into a dead place. The world in the void is divided into areas. Somewhat similar to galaxies in the universe, the huge gravity will cause worlds to gather together. But the distance between the two world communities will be very far, and there will be endless coldness and deathly silence in between. Even energy, matter, soul, and time and space will not exist. The place where these worlds come together is called a world group. There are many world groups in the void. Originally, most of the world groups had little connection because they were too far apart. However, I don't know how many years ago, the void impulse of the world group was discovered, which created a connection between the world groups. Some civilizations intersected and began to form exchanges. And weirdness also appears in front of all civilizations in constant communication. It turns out that the weirdness is spread throughout all the world groups known so far, and there are weirdness in any world group. They do exactly the same thing, finding the world, invading the world, and destroying the world. They cannot communicate, only war. Through the void wormhole, some completely destroyed world groups were even discovered. All worlds and universes in the entire world group were destroyed and occupied by the weirdness. After knowing the horror of the weirdness, the consequence is that in order to survive, the alliance against the weirdness broke out in one world group after another. All alliances have formulated strict regulations against the weirdness. The first is the World Protection Law. Anyone who knows the existence of the weirdness is not allowed to enter any world privately. The information about the existence of the weirdness must not flow into any world. The weirdness will track any world that knows its existence and locate it. The second is to target the weird void. All alliances in the world group have begun to defend against the weird void. Sealing the weird void, exploring the weird place, and completely destroying the world invaded by the weird are what the alliance needs to do. The Void Destiny Committee that established the Void City is just one of the alliances in this world group. And the so-called world group is only the world group near the world group where the Destiny Void Committee is located. No one knows what the more distant void is. Because the void wormhole is formed naturally, no one knows how far it can connect to the house of everything I created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 857. Lin Yi heard the information revealed by shopkeeper Tong, and then he realized the vastness of the void. Indra and the giant soul tree Ayala, they are probably pure casual cultivators who have not yet come into contact with the void force. So the information exchanged with Lin Yi was very limited. The only useful thing is probably the strange life that was reborn after the strange world occupied the world and destroyed the world. And this time, Lin Yi learned the real void from shopkeeper Tong. It is vast and boundless, full of countless possibilities, billions of civilizations, infinite worlds, and boundless. This is the stage I want. Establish my own void force, Wan Chaiwu. Lin Yi's mind flashed with his own ambitions, but compared with countless powerful void forces, Wan Chaiwu is still too weak. At this stage, he can only obtain resources through one world after another. But he also has his advantage, that is, he can get things like talent. This kind of resource will be the foundation for his foothold in the void in the future. During the conversation, there was a knock on the door of the VIP living room. Shopkeeper Tong smiled. It seems that the appraisal master is here. As he said that, he stood up and quickly opened the door. Outside stood a middle-aged human man who looked about 40 years old. He had a pair of wonderful eyes and a mysterious aura. This mysterious aura should come from his skills. Shopkeeper Tong brought the appraisal master into the VIP living room and pointed to the pure green gem on the table. This is the treasure sold this time. It can allow ordinary people to have certain talents. This one represents the talent in drawing. This one was the talent gem that Lin Yi took out at first. When the appraisal master heard this, he showed a hint of surprise in his eyes and said after thinking for a while. This is a treasure similar to a characteristic, which can make anyone have a natural characteristic. For example, dexterous fingers, dexterous hands, sharp soul, etc. This kind of characteristic is generally very valuable because it involves the essence of the soul. For the cultivation of immortals, mastering various techniques has a huge effect. It will probably take some time to complete the appraisal. Hearing the words of the appraisal master, Lin Yi waved his hand indifferently. It doesn't matter, just spend a little time. The appraisal master gently picked up the gem on the table. Then a strange item appeared in his hand. This is a tray, and in the center of the tray is a small altar similar to a pyramid. He placed the gem on the top of the altar, where there was a small depression. Then he pinched his hands to move the strange seal, and a stream of light was injected into the small altar. The next moment, the altar emitted a hazy glow, covering the green gem. About 10 minutes later, countless words flashed on the surface of the altar. Then, these words slowly flew up from the surface of the altar and appeared above the altar, forming an article. There are about dozens of words. After reading it, the treasure appraiser showed a hint of shock in his eyes. This is a perfect feature that can create a treasure of peerless talent. It is worth at least 100,000 time world coins. Hearing this, shopkeeper Tong suddenly showed a hint of surprise on his face. This is a huge fortune. Thinking of this, he immediately looked at Lin Yi. Mr. Lin, this treasure, we bought it from Babayazai. The price is 100,000 time world coins. I wonder what you think of this price. Lin Yi smiled, no problem, this price is okay. Shopkeeper Tong smiled, please wait a moment, I will go to get the money. As he said this, he had left here with the treasure appraiser, and the gifted gem was placed in front of Lin Yi. About 10 minutes later, shopkeeper Tong walked in with a palm-sized purple gold bag. Under Lin Yi's eyes, he immediately saw that this was a space item. There is a space series of formations inside, engraved on this purple gold bag, forming a magic weapon. There were 100,000 coins shining with the light of time in the bag. Shopkeeper Tong looked at Lin Yi and said with a smile on his face, Mr. Lin, this is a dimensional pocket. A space equipment specially used to carry items. There are 100,000 coins in it, and you can take them out as long as you inject energy. Lin Yi took the dimensional pocket and showed a faint smile on his face. Thank you. After that, Lin Yi took the dimensional pocket and left, and the orb was left directly on the table. Shopkeeper Tong picked up the orb and showed great joy on his face. He knew the value of this thing too well. With 100,000 time world coins, they had already made a lot of money. Soon Lin Yi stood on the street of this meteorite base. He began to walk slowly on the street, looking for a suitable site. This sum of money was enough for him to buy a piece of land in this meteorite base. Then he could move the Wanchai will here. After a round, you may find that although this place is also very prosperous, there are also many vacant lands. There were also some people with low cultivation who even found some ghost immortal level life forms. Obviously, these people were brought here by the beings from outside the realm. Time passed in a blink of an eye, and about an hour passed. After Lin Yi took a walk, he had some understanding of this meteorite base. There is a considerable degree of security force in the city. Every street has at least one person of the Earth Immortal Dao level patrolling here. There is also a lot of traffic in the city, and it is quite prosperous overall. Let Lin Yi feel the prosperity of the void. However, he did not see a real estate agency here, which made him scratch his head. It is definitely impossible to occupy a piece of land in a place like this. It will soon be discovered by the rulers, and it must be reasonably integrated here. There is no real estate agency here. It seems that the land sales here should be done directly by the officials of this base. I originally wanted to let the guy who signed the contract just now to buy the land. But now I'll do it myself. There are not as many problems as the Void City here, so I don't need to borrow his hand. Thinking of this, his eyes swept across the street casually and fell on a lone ghost immortal Dao level cultivator. Lin Yi walked over with a faint smile on his face. Hello, may I bother you? This man was a cultivator wearing a grey bagua robe, about 20 years old, and looked like a human. His bagua robe was a bit worn out, and it was obvious that he was not doing well here. The man looked at Lin Yi, and a trace of vigilance suddenly appeared on his face. He felt the aura of the earthly immortal level emanating from the other party. The house of everything I created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 858. Dear Sir, what can I do for you? The man was very polite, kneeling down and looking at Lin Yi cautiously. It's like this, I want to buy a piece of land here, but I don't know who to ask. If you do me a favor, I have a thank you gift. The man's face suddenly showed a hint of joy when he heard this. He knew that he might be able to make some extra money. With a joyful smile on his face, he quickly said, I know about buying land. When my master came here to buy property, he asked me to do it. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Is that so? That's good. What's your name? You can call me Xiaoliu. You can call me Mr. Lin. Yes, Mr. Lin. What's the specific transaction? Mr. Lin, it's still a bit troublesome to buy and sell land here. I can't explain it clearly for the time being, so why don't you let me take you there directly? In this way, you can also quickly buy the land you want. After hearing this, Lin Yi thought for a while and said, that's fine. The land I want to buy is right there. After saying that, Lin Yi pointed to a vacant lot 300 meters ahead and said, that piece of vacant land covers an area of about 200 square meters. Because it is located at the end of the street, there are relatively few people. There are also relatively few buildings adjacent to that piece of land, and it does not look expensive. After seeing the piece of land, Xiaoliu smiled. Mr. Lin, because that piece of land is at the end of the street, there are few people, so the price will be very low, not more than 30,000 Time World coins. But this is just the rent, because all the land in the base will not be bought and sold. All are rented and sold according to 10 void years. I want to make this clear. In the void, 1 void year is approximately equal to about 3 years in Lin Yi's world. In general, it is equivalent to spending 30,000 Time World coins in 30 years, which is not expensive in terms of cost effectiveness. It is only about 1,000 Time World coins a year. No problem, you lead the way. Xiaoliu's face was filled with joy, and he thought to himself, this is a big shot. Mr. Lin, please follow me. Under Xiaoliu's leadership, Lin Yi soon arrived in front of a slightly magnificent building. This building is golden and white, somewhat similar to a Western temple, with various pictures carved on it. For example, a huge and exquisite giant snake is carved on a beam. The moment Lin Yi saw the giant snake, he knew it was alive. It can turn from a mural into a real life at any time, and its power level has reached the peak of the earthly immortal way. There are 3 different powers in its body: fire, ice, and poison. And on the dozens of huge columns of this temple, each one has a completely different mural. All these murals are the guards here. Xiaoliu took Lin Yi into the palace, which was a hall. There were many people handling various things around a counter in the hall. Under the guidance of Xiaoliu, Lin Yi successfully spent 30,000 Time World coins to buy a lease for a piece of land for 10 void years. Holding the title deed, standing outside the temple, Xiaoliu showed a trace of joy on his face. Mr. Lin, the title deed has been leased. Looking at Xiaoliu's expectant eyes, Lin Yi casually took out 10 Time World coins. This is your tip, thank you very much. Xiaoliu took Lin Yi's reward, and his face showed even more satisfied joy. Thank you Mr. Lin for the reward. This is my void name card. If you have anything you want to do, you can find me again. Just inject power to activate it. I am also a local snake in this crescent meteorite base. I can do a lot of things for you. Lin Yi nodded and took the void name card he handed over. Okay, I will find you again if there is something. Xiaoliu smiled and nodded, then turned and left. Lin Yi looked at the void name card in his hand, and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. This name card contains a wonderful formation, which seems to be able to connect specific things and then communicate. Lin Yi put the name card away casually, feeling that it would be useful in the future. Then he turned around and left here, returning to the place where he bought the land. This place is indeed very remote, and there are some houses that look like residences next to it, but they are no longer shops. One of the reasons why Lin Yi is willing to spend money to rent land here is that someone is willing to spend a huge price to transform this meteorite into a place to live. It means that the safety here is at least guaranteed, and there may not be any changes for hundreds or thousands of years. After all, after entering the Earth Immortal path, the civilization of the immortal cultivation system has almost become immortal. As long as you can avoid thunder tribulations again and again, it is not a problem to live for tens of thousands of years. Thinking of this, a hint of thought appeared in his eyes. The next problem is to cover up the weird breath of the Wanchai. He stood on his own land, and the mother bell of the acacia bell had appeared in his hand. One of the abilities of the wish shrine after evolution is to transmit the strange items in the Wanchi house to Lin Yi's hands through the power of the wish shrine. A faint field permeated from his hand, instantly wrapped the acacia bell and sank under the land. The twisted field directly twisted a space under the land, burying the mother bell of the acacia bell inside. At the same time, a majestic dark golden chaotic power permeated from Lin Yi's blue star clone. This is the power of the human immortal clone, which descended on the blue star clone through the wish shrine. Under Lin Yi's control, this power quickly covered the entire land. At the same time, this power began to condense automatically and turned into matter. Lin Yi's all things tribulation progressed rapidly, and the Yuankai tribulation had already been completely controlled. At this time, he was converting energy into matter. However, he only converted ordinary matter, not those with wonderful powers. Soon a huge house appeared out of thin air on the land, and from the outside. It was almost exactly the same as the Wanchi house. However, it does not have the strange atmosphere of the Wanchai. It is just an ordinary house. Mastering the calamity of all things and the calamity of Yuankai, plus the power of the true source of life, he can easily convert energy and matter. He has now reached this level, any matter can be converted into energy, and any energy can be converted into any matter. Of course, this is something that only people who have mastered the true secrets of energy and matter can do. The two kinds of calamities of the Tianxian Dao were originally only immune to the damage of these two forces. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 859. Lin Yi is different from other practitioners. Through his perfect body, he has perfectly mastered the mysteries of energy, and at the same time he has mastered part of the mysteries of matter, as well as the true meaning of life. In order to achieve complete energy and material conversion, as for other celestial Dao monks, it will take a long time to master these two powers before they can complete it. Lin Yi took a deep breath, with a faint smile in his eyes. The replica of the Everything House has been built. The next step is to swap the main body of the All Things House with this place. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. With the false Master House established in the base, when the real Master House is converted, it will not attract attention. You can leave here now. The key to any door appeared in his hand, and he inserted it directly into the door of All Things House. The gate emits a faint red light under the power of the random gate and the wish shrine. Pushing the door open, the door has been connected to the Everything House on Blue Star. A ray of thought poured into the minds of the brandy and vodka in the Everything Room, as well as Li Hualian. They immediately knew the cause and effect. Lin Yi looked at the three of them and said, "You go there to guard the replica of the House of Everything. Waiting for my next arrival." Brandy, vodka, and Li Hualian came out immediately after hearing this. "Yes, store manager, don't worry, leave everything to me," Brandy said with excitement on her face. Lin Yi directly threw the dimensional bag to him. "There is money in it, and there is also a void name post." If you need anything, you can go to that Xiao Lu for help. If the money is available, he should be able to solve it. Bai Lan nodded, don't worry, manager. Watching the three people leaving through the door of Wan Chaiwu, Lin Yi had a look of confusion in his eyes. This is your first time standing alone. I hope you won't disappoint me. Click. The door is closed. The entire Wan Chaiwu view fell into silence. In the crescent meteor base, Brandy, Vodka, and Li Hualian stood at the gate of the Everything House. The expressions of the three of them changed slightly, because the entire base was filled with the aura of strong men. Earthly immortals are as numerous as dogs, and heavenly immortals are walking all over the earth, but that's all. In an instant, Brandy's face became cautious. He looked at the Vodka and Li Hualian, let's go in first, tidy up the store, and get familiar with the environment. Then we'll be ready to open. Since it's a cafe, it should look like a cafe. But it seems like there are a lot of strong people here. Maybe we need to re-examine the drinks and food suitable for these strong men. You can't just sit back and have nothing. Before the store manager and others arrive, we must at least operate the store and handle everything properly. Vodka nodded, Li Hualian and I are responsible for guarding and cleaning the store. Okay, one of you is too dark, and one of you is not strong enough. If you go out, you might be treated as a monster and killed by others. After I prepare the store, I will go out to investigate the situation. Li Hualian is incompetent and very calm. Brandy is confident. The three of them started working in the meteorite base very cautiously. In the Blue Star Everything room, the departure of the three Brandy people did not affect the place. After Wan Chaiwu returned from the strange place, no one left Wan Chaiwu. They all discovered a wonderful thing. That is, although Wan Shiwu has returned to Blue Star, no one has come in again. Even people passing by will ignore it. Even if someone looked in the direction of Wan Chaiwu, it seemed that Wan Chaiwu was not seen at all. Everyone in the Wan Chaiwu could tell from the eyes of the passers-by that there was no sign of the Wan Chaiwu at all. At this time, Wan Chaiwu seems to be in a state of non-existence. All this made everyone feel incredible. I wonder what is going on? After Lin Yi came back, Sakura Gong Shirley immediately talked about this matter. Listening to Yinjiang Shirley's words, Lin Yi frowned deeply. He felt that this should be a phenomenon caused by strange power. It should be a special phenomenon caused by the improvement in the quality of the strange items in the Wan Chaiwu house. I'll go out and take a look. You guys stay in the All Things room and don't go out. Lin Yi's whole body shone with the brilliance of his true destiny, and he took one step and left the Wan Chaiwu view directly. He felt as if he had penetrated a magical barrier and entered the outside world. He could clearly feel that the worlds of All Things House and Blue Star were divided into two different time and spaces. At this time, the Wan Shi House seems to be a space of its own. Lin Yi quickly moved in one direction under the influence of his true destiny. He sensed the location of Kun Na Wuifang, the bounty hunter from Everything House. At this time, Blue Star was in chaos. Because weirdness began to appear everywhere, and the weirdness was obviously blocked in the southwestern countries. But in other places on the three continents, strange things began to appear one after another. And something strange has appeared on these continents, and it's not just mutated corpses. There are also some invisible weirdnesses that make people crazy and even directly cause mutations. Not only humans, but also animals and plants were affected, and the entire world was shrouded in an atmosphere of doomsday. The storm is about to come and the wind is filling the building. On the moon, a bloody light and an invisible magnetic field are colliding. In the center of the moon, in a black coffin, a bloody shadow has already pounced into the body in the coffin. The bloody shadow is spreading wildly on the body, and the two huge wills are constantly colliding. In several huge holes on the blue planet, there is also a terrifying aura, which is slowly awakening. The whole world has undergone tremendous changes in just a few days. And the worst is countless ordinary people. Death is coming anytime and anywhere, and the end of the world seems to be accelerating. Even the three major temples feel tremendous pressure, and many kings are gathering. In the void, 21 thoughts are communicating with each other. Something is wrong. The mysterious dark power is spreading rapidly. The plan to blockade the southwestern countries has completely failed. According to the alien being in Wulingdao, the strange invasion is accelerating. According to the information he has seen, our world will face destruction in at most 1 month. And 3 days later is the beginning of the world's collapse. At the same time, it is also the time for the cross-world formation to open. Gather all the power to the location of the formation and protect it from being invaded by anyone. This news is only known to us, don't let others get involved. The cold decision was made in a short time, and it has determined the fate of countless people on the entire Blue Star. They were all abandoned, and only these kings could be saved. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 860. A large number of aliens also sensed the danger of the world at this time. The shadow of death stimulated everyone and enveloped their hearts. All these beings were no longer hidden, and they began to quickly unite and exchange what they had. Among them, there were at least 10 beings at the level of Tiangxiandao. They began to quickly control some small countries and mobilize a large amount of resources. They were making a last-ditch effort to build a large formation that could tear apart time and space. At this time, no one had the mind to intrigue, and they were all fully prepared to meet the impact of world destruction. This was the last chance to leave the world. However, there were still some aliens who had received the news that the Wulingdao formation had been built. They had quickly gathered and came to the imperial capital of country H. But everyone had forgotten the existence of Wanchaiwu, except for one person. Shen Wuifang, who was in Jingguan City, looked at Lin Yi who appeared in front of him, and a look of horror appeared on his face. Manager, has something happened to the Wanchaiwu? I found that no one remembers the Wanchaiwu except me. Lin Yi's heart moved slightly when he heard this. Nothing, it's just that the Wanchaiwu has activated some abilities. Now I come to you to inform you. The Wanchaiwu is about to leave the Blue Star, and this world will go to extinction. Do you want to leave? Shen Wuifang was stunned for a moment when he heard Lin Yi's words. Destroy the Doomsday. Are we really unable to save it? Shen Wuifang's face became a little unbelievable. At the same time, there was some struggle, as well as reluctance and helplessness. Can't all the kings stop the coming of the Doomsday? Lin Yi glanced at Shen Wuifang. Weirdness is a disaster that the entire void and countless worlds can only resist with their combined strength. Do you think a small blue star can resist it? Impossible. When the weirdness appeared in this world, the destruction of this world was doomed, and no one could save it. Manager, what about you? Can't you save it? Shen Wuifang looked at Lin Yi with a hopeful look on his face. Lin Yi looked at him, frowned and thought for a while. I haven't tried it, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. But I don't need to do this kind of thing. Because the price to pay is very high and it takes a long time. You also have to fight against countless weird beings. This is not my interest. The most important thing is that you can't afford this huge price. Shen Wuifang was stunned when he heard this, and also smiled bitterly. Yes, we really can't afford the price. Thinking of this, his heart suddenly moved. Manager, if I want some people to leave here and live in a new place, can you help me? Lin Yi thought about it after hearing this. I can help you, no problem, as long as you pay the price. But there is one thing you have to understand, the weirdness that invades this world. As long as someone knows about it, they will locate you. Then track it to your world and eventually destroy this world. Even if you let these people leave, as long as they still remember the existence of weirdness, they will eventually be destroyed. Shen Wuifang had already roughly understood what weirdness is from Lin Yi. But now he brought up this matter obviously with his own ideas. I know what you mean, so this is what I think. Can their memories about the weird be erased? Then send them to other worlds, so that they can avoid bringing the weird to the new world. Hearing this, Lin Yi's heart moved slightly. It's not impossible. It's okay to try. Who do you want to save? Shen Wuifang said calmly, a few descendants of my family. They are all talented, but they don't have time to grow up. I hope to help them, at least leave some fire for the people of Blue Star. Lin Yi nodded, okay, what's the price? Here are all the magic tools and items with spiritual imprints that I have collected. There are at least 74 different spiritual imprints in it. I have 15 descendants in my future generations. I don't know if these spiritual imprints are enough. Lin Yi smiled and said, 74 spiritual imprints? That's enough. This is the contract note. The content of the contract is to let them exchange their memories for the opportunity to leave Blue Star. You can grind out their memories directly. Shen Wuifang took the note handed over by Lin Yi and nodded solemnly. Okay, thank you for your help, manager. After the arrangements are made, prepare to come to the Wanchaiwu. We will probably leave here soon. Within 3 days. Shen Wuifang nodded respectfully, yes. After the instructions, Lin Yi left here and returned to the Wanchaiwu. Shen Wuifang quickly took action and found the descendants he carefully selected. At this time, a ball of endless blood light suddenly rose above the moon, illuminating the entire world in blood. Countless people were attracted by the blood light, and a huge, blood-colored figure like a demon god appeared on the moon. Some beings from other worlds were shocked when they saw the changes on the moon. So powerful. Full of evil blood power. In troubled times, everything comes out. Thoughts were exchanged in the void, and the entire Blue Star seemed to become more and more chaotic. Jingguan City is already in a state of depression, and there are people everywhere who are in a hurry. The whole world is filled with an atmosphere that seems to be about to be destroyed. Lin Yi was also attracted by the bloody light on the moon, and he could already see what it was with the radiance of his true destiny in his eyes. Interesting, similar to a blood demon. Somewhat similar to Indra. It should be an alien arrival. The bloody light just appeared suddenly and attracted Lin Yi's attention. He returned to the house of everything and began to prepare. A crystal card appeared in his hand, with countless stars shining on it. It was what he exchanged from Ren Wudi that allowed him to manipulate space at will. The immortal clone holds this crystal tablet, and majestic power surges into it. A mysterious space force diffused from it. A feeling naturally emerged in Lin Yi's heart. He can manipulate this space force and make any changes in space. He looked in front of him and felt a slight movement in his heart. The power emitted by the crystal card was quickly controlled. The power slowly fluctuated in front of him, and then the space began to tear apart, layer after layer.